Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Today, we're going international with a really cool firearm.
Oh, intrigued. Lay it on me.
We dug up this Polish article all about a Smith&Wesson,
Smith&Wesson. Okay, I'm listening. Which one?
the Target Champion pistol.
Now, that's a name that brings back memories. I spent some time on the range with one of those beauties years ago, a serious piece of hardware.
Yeah, and this article, it's not just about the gun itself, you know. It's a peek into the world of competitive shooting, the craftsmanship, that level of detail. Pretty fascinating stuff.
Absolutely. And from what I remember, the Target Champion was purpose-built for a specific type of competitive shooting, too. We're talking about the realm of the International Shooting Sport Federation, or ISSF, and Precision Pistol Competition, or PPC.
Okay, hold on. For those of us who don't spend every weekend at the range, to break that down a bit.
Sure. Think Olympic-level shooting when you hear ISSF. It's all about precision, control, super strict rules.
Same PPC.
PPC is more your highly skilled civilian and law enforcement shooters. Think FBI, SWAT teams, that kind of crowd. Still incredibly demanding, but with a slightly different focus.
So what are the key differences between the two? I mean, besides who's competing?
Well, in ISSF, you're usually shooting .22 caliber pistols, or sometimes what they call pistolet centralnego zaponu in Polish.
Pistolet centralnego zapunu?
Yeah, it just means centerfire pistol.
Ah, okay. So bigger bullets than .22.
Right. And for those centerfire competitions, the article highlights .32 S&W long WC as a popular choice.
Interesting. Why that caliber specifically?
It's all about recoil management. That .32 S&W long WC, it's known for its mild recoil. You need to stay on target for those rapid follow-up shots. Super important in ISSF, where hitting those tiny 10 rings is everything.
Got it. But you said PPC is a bit different, right?
Exactly. With PPC, you've got bigger targets, varying distances, sometimes even moving targets. So the game changes. It's not just pure precision anymore. It's a blend of speed and accuracy.
So different tools for different jobs. What kind of calibers do they use in PPC then?
You see a lot of 9mm and .38 special in PPC. They pack a bit more punch.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So where does our Smith&Wesson Target Champion fit into all this? Which discipline was it made for?
Well, that's what's so cool. Smith&Wesson actually produced two regions of the Target Champion. One for each type of competition. There was a 9mm pistol, which is what our Polish article focuses on, and a .357 Magnum revolver.
Hold on. A revolver for competition shooting? Seriously?
Yep. You don't see it much anymore, but back in the day, revolvers were a common sight at competitions.
That's wild. I kind of want to see that in action now. But okay, let's stick with the 9mm Target Champion for now.
Yeah.
What made it so special?
This thing was built for accuracy. Think of it as a precision instrument. It's way bigger and heavier than your average 9mm. We're talking around 1,200 grams unloaded.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a beast. I bet the weight helps soak up recoil, though.
Absolutely. Stability is key in competitive shooting. You don't want the gun jumping around on you. That weight, combined with the short recoil operation, made the Target Champion incredibly smooth and controllable, even when you were firing hotter 9mm loads.
So built like a tank and designed for maximum control. Okay, I'm getting the picture. But what else stood out about it? What other features made it special?
Oh man, where do I even begin? Let's start with the grips. You had a choice of hardened rubber or, get this, walnut.
Walnut grips. Fancy.
Yeah. And there were even custom grip makers catering to Target Champion owners. Patchmeyer, Nil Griff, the whole 9 yards.
Wow, custom grips. These guys were serious. I guess when you're competing at that level, every little detail matters. Speaking of details, what about the trigger? How was that?
The trigger, oh, it was a dream. Single action, adjustable pull weight between 1.4 and 2.2 kilograms.
Super light and crisp.
Like breaking glass. You barely think about squeezing it and the shot's gone.
Nice. Okay, I'm sold on the trigger. Now, sights. You need good sights when you're trying to hit those tiny targets. What do they have on this thing?
They went all out. LPA micrometer sights.
LPA, so top of the line. Those are adjustable, right?
Oh, yeah. Fully adjustable for both windage and elevation. You could dial that thing in for any distance.
And what about capacity? High capacity mags are usually a must for competition, right?
Yep. Target Champion used double stack magazines, 15 rounds.
Okay, not bad. So we've got a heavy, rock-solid pistol, amazing trigger, top-notch sights, good capacity. Sounds like a winner. But I'm guessing all this didn't come cheap. How much did one of these things cost back in the day?
Hold on to your hat. The article says a Target Champion in Germany back in 2001 set you back about 2,400 Deutschmarks.
2400 DM. Wow, that's a lot. How did that compare to other competition pistols at the time?
Well, to give you some context, a Colt Gold Cup trophy was going for about 1550 DM back then.
Okay, so the Target Champion was definitely a premium option, built for those who demanded the absolute best. So given all that, are these things even still around? Can you even get one today?
Well, here's the thing. The 9mm and .45 ACP Target Champion pistols, they're not in production anymore.
Oh, man. So they're like collector's items now.
Pretty much, but you can still find them on the used market. Just gotta know where to look.
And be ready to pay a hefty price, I'm sure.
Yeah, a Target Champion in good condition is gonna command a premium these days. Maybe even more than its original price tag.
Supply and demand, right. Scarcity drives up the price.
Right.
But hey, if you want a piece of shooting history, sometimes you got to pay to play. But before we get too deep into the collector's market, let's shift gears a bit. I want to hear more about the Target Champion's performance on the range. What was it actually like to shoot this thing?
Now that's a question I can get behind. Let's dive into that right after a quick word from our sponsors.
We'll be right back. All right, we're back, ready to dive into some serious shooting performance.
Let's do it. I'm curious to hear more about how this Target Champion actually handled on the range.
Me too. So the article talks about this gun being a real tack driver. But what exactly made it so accurate? What set it apart from the competition?
Well, the article really zeroes in on two things: accuracy and reliability.
Makes sense. I mean, those are pretty much the cornerstones of any good competition firearm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need a gun you can trust to perform consistently, shot after shot, especially when the pressure's on.
Right. You can't have any malfunctions or surprises when you're trying to hit those tiny targets.
Yeah.
So how did the Target Champion achieve that level of reliability? Was it just the build quality?
Well, that was a big part of it, for sure. The heavy-duty construction, the precision machining, it all contributed to a gun that was built to last.
Right, like we were talking about earlier, built like a tank.
Yeah.
But there's got to be more to it than that, right? I mean, just being well made doesn't automatically make a gun accurate.
You're absolutely right. It's the combination of all those features we've been discussing. The weight, the trigger, the sights. They all work together to create a shooting experience that was incredibly precise and consistent.
Ah, I see. So it wasn't just one magic ingredient, it was the whole package.
Exactly. It's like a symphony where every instrument plays its part to create a harmonious whole.
I love that analogy. So all those design elements working in concert to deliver those tight shot groups, shot after shot.
Precisely. But there's another interesting aspect the article mentions. The owner of the Target Champion actually preferred custom-made ammunition for competition.
Oh, really? Why is that? I mean, factory ammo is readily available, and it's usually pretty good these days.
True, but when you're competing at that level, every tiny detail matters. Custom ammo lets you fine-tune every aspect of the cartridge.
So what kind of things are we talking about here? Bullet weight? Powder charge?
All of that, and more. Even the seating depth of the bullet can have an impact on accuracy.
Wow. I never realized there was so much that could be customized in a single cartridge.
Oh yeah, it's a whole wince unto itself.
Yeah.
And for serious competitors, it's worth the extra effort to have ammunition that's perfectly tailored to their gun and their shooting style.
Makes sense. I mean, we're talking about squeezing every ounce of performance out of their equipment.
Absolutely. And that level of dedication really speaks to the passion these shooters have for their sport.
It's inspiring, really. It shows that the pursuit of excellence can take you down some pretty fascinating paths.
Couldn't agree more. It's a reminder that no matter what you're passionate about, that attention to detail and that drive to improve can make all the difference.
Well said. Now, we've established that the Target Champion was a top-tier competition pistol, but we also know it's no longer in production. So what are the options for shooters today who want that same level of performance? Are there any modern equivalents?
Well, the good news is that Smith&Wesson hasn't completely abandoned the competitive shooting market. They still have a few tricks up their sleeve.
Oh, like what?
The article mentions a newer model, the M952-2.
The M952-2. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. How does it compare to the Target Champion?
Well, it shares some of the same DNA. It's also built from stainless steel, and it's got that crisp single-action trigger that competitive shooters love.
Sounds promising. But what about the capacity? The Target Champion had those 15-round mags, right?
Yeah. The M952-2 is a bit different in that regard. It's actually closer to the original M952 with a single-stack magazine that holds 9 rounds.
Ah, so a little less firepower than the Target Champion. I could see that being a deal breaker for some competitors.
It depends on the type of competition, for sure. But the M952-2 has some other interesting features that might make up for it.
Oh, like what?
For one, you have a choice of barrel lengths. You can go with either a 127 millimeter or a 152 millimeter barrel.
So a bit of customization there. That's cool.
Yeah, it allows shooters to fine-tune the gun to their specific needs and preferences.
I like that. So for those who want a brand new Smith&Wesson competition pistol, the M9522 seems like a solid option. But what about those who have their hearts set on the classic Target Champion? Are they just out of luck?
Not necessarily. Like we mentioned earlier, you can still find them on the used market.
Right, but I bet they're not cheap.
You'd be right about that. The article mentions prices can vary quite a bit depending on the condition.
Of course. I mean, a pristine Target Champion has got to be worth a small fortune these days.
Pretty much. But for true enthusiasts, it's more than just a gun. It's a piece of history, a collector's item.
Absolutely. It's like owning a piece of art that you can also take to the range and shoot. Pretty cool when you think about it.
It really is.
All right.
And it speaks to the enduring legacy of the Target Champion. Even though it's no longer in production, it still holds a special place in the hearts of competitive shooters.
No doubt. But you know, this whole conversation has got me thinking. The article focuses on the Target Champion in its time, but how has the world of competitive shooting changed since then?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, technology has advanced so much in recent years. I'm sure competitive shooting has evolved right along with it.
Absolutely. New materials, new optics, new training methods. It's got to be a whole different ballgame now.
You're telling me, I mean, just imagine the possibilities. What new shooting disciplines have emerged? What kind of cutting-edge gear are they using? It really makes you wonder what the future holds for the sport.
It's exciting to think about. What innovations are just around the corner? What boundaries are yet to be pushed?
So many questions, and I think that's part of what makes this deep dive so fascinating. It's not just about looking back at the past, it's about looking forward to the future.
Well said. This whole journey has really opened my eyes to the world of competitive shooting. It's so much more than just pointing a gun at a target. It's a sport that demands precision, dedication, and a constant pursuit of excellence.
It really is, and I think there are lessons to be learned from that. Lessons that we can apply to any area of our lives, really.
Absolutely. The dedication and attention to detail that these shooters exhibit are qualities that can serve us well in any pursuit.
Couldn't agree more. It's a reminder that no matter what you're passionate about, striving for excellence is always worth the effort.
Well said. And on that note, we reach the end of our deep dive into the world of the Smith&Wesson Target Champion. But this is just the beginning of our exploration.
Oh, what do you mean?
We've uncovered so many fascinating threads here. Threads that lead to other worlds, other stories, other deep dives. And I, for one, am eager to follow those threads and see where they lead us.
Now that's an idea I can get behind. I'm always up for a good adventure.
Me too. So to our listeners, we invite you to join us on this journey of exploration. Let's dive deep together into the world of knowledge, curiosity, and wonder.
Who knows what treasures we might uncover along the way?
Thank you for being a part of this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that curiosity burning bright. You know, it's funny how we started with this one Polish article about a pretty specific gun.
It is, isn't it?
And now we're talking about the future of competitive shooting as a whole. It's like you pull on one thread.
And the whole world opens up.
Yeah. We zoomed in on this meticulously crafted Target Champion.
And now we're zooming back out, seeing the bigger picture.
And it's a fascinating picture, this world of competitive shooting.
It really is. It's a world that demands so much. Not just skill, but knowledge, a deep understanding of the equipment, pushing the limits of what's possible.
Absolutely. And it's all driven by that human desire to be the best, to excel, to hit that perfect shot.
I think that's what really struck me about this deep dive. It's that pursuit of perfection. It's not just about hitting the target.
It's about hitting it better than anyone else, constantly striving, refining your technique.
Of mastering your equipment.
And that dedication. It's contagious. It makes you want to be better no matter what you're doing.
Right. It's not just about shooting. It's about setting high standards and then doing everything you can to reach them.
Pushing yourself.
Yeah.
Always learning. Never settle.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of the Smith&Wesson Target Champion, I want to leave our listeners with a thought.
Ooh, what's that?
What other hitting worlds are out there? What are you curious about? What sparks your imagination?
What knowledge are you hungry for? Because maybe there's an object out there, seemingly ordinary.
But when you really look at it,
a whole universe opens up.
that's the beauty of these deep dives, right? It's not just about the information.
It's about sparking that curiosity, igniting that passion for learning.
and encouraging everyone to look deeper, connect those dots.
See the world in new ways.
It's amazing what you can find when you start looking.
So, to our listeners, what hidden worlds are you going to explore?
What mysteries are you going to unravel?
Let us know. And maybe, just maybe,
Your curiosity will lead to our next deep dive.
thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of the Smith&Wesson Target Champion.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time,
Keep exploring
keep learning.
and keep diving deep.